Hello boys and girls, and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the clean unboxing of the DT Studios Monkey D. Luffy from Senpai Toys. If you saw my live stream that went crazy and ended up turning into two parts because my computer decided to die halfway through, you'll know how excited I was, and I'm still excited. I've already done an unboxing live, but this is going to be a clean unboxing so you guys can see how best to put it together, because I didn't find any instructions for it. And I'm super stoked because I ended up getting number 32 out of 176. Now, it is my understanding, and I'm not for sure, someone correct me down below if I'm wrong, that the runs that they end up making on these are, it seems odd. Like, I've seen as low as 88, I've seen 333, I've seen some up to 4,000 on different studios pieces, and it's my understanding that it's based off of pre-orders. Like, how many pre-orders they only make and cast and paint enough to fill whatever pre-orders from shops that end up ordering it. So the numbers are usually pretty low, and let me tell you, after already unboxing this, I am highly pleased about this. Again, I ended up picking this up over at sensaitoy.com. There is a link down below to this statue, also the website, and also the Facebook page. Now, their site may sketch out a few people, and I need to make this clear. I believe their page, their sales page, is run off of Facebook, and they are out of Thailand. Everything is in, I think it's pronounced Bach, but whatever their currency is. So you will have to do a currency converter on there. They do give you options when you end up placing an order. It's best to either email them or send them a message through Facebook Messenger. That's how I end up contacting them and getting hold of them and talking to them. The owner is a super awesome person. One of his employees accidentally sent me the wrong one, and he apologized. They managed to pull it back. I was like, okay, I'll just buy it, do an unboxing, do a review on it, and give it away on my channel. But they managed to pull it back, and they got this one out. It literally took about 3 days, maybe 4 days to get here from Thailand. And I did choose the option to have it shipped by DHL. It is a little more expensive that way. You do have the option of SAL, which will take about 4 to 5 months because it gets put on a cargo ship, comes to America, then gets distributed. You have the option of EMS, which is more expensive than DHL for some reason. And there's issues with mail going through that way. Then there's DHL. I've ended up finding this shop just trolling through Google. I found it and I took a chance. I ended up messaging the owner, contacting, kind of asked pricing. I kind of was concerned with like, how long is their ship out time? Literally 12 hours after I paid for this, it was shipped. Like, it was crazy. I don't know if the owner just lives on caffeine or not, but he was there about 12 o'clock his time, but it was like morning time my time, and we were conversing. Like, it's crazy. I really have to commend this shop. And there are a lot of shops that do sketchy business on the side. This is not one of them. Once I looked at their Facebook page, they have, I think it's 74,000 followers. They've been in business for almost 10 years. Great reviews. There are a few negative. There's always going to be some negatives, and most of that had to do with pre-orders and people complaining during. So without further ado, let me kind of showcase this and show you everything. I'm not going to do a re-unboxing out of the foam and everything, but that's one of the things I also want to talk about, where sideshow statues end up coming in that white styrofoam, and it's hard, and sometimes it ends up scratching up the stuff. In these, it's actually this style foam. It's soft, it's laser cut. All of the pieces have little notches. They are in bags. There's foam that goes over the pieces. The company that does this, I have to say, top notch. I haven't messed with any of the other companies yet. I probably will, but I have to give credit where it's due. Now, because I'm limited on space, we're going to do this way. The only real artwork that you have on the box is this, and it's like a painting. And I think it looks great. All right, so the first thing we're going to end up looking at is the base here. Like, the first thing we're going to end up looking at here is the base. All of this it's all clear resin, and except for a few things like the piping, this, it all looks great. I will do a plug-in and show you guys all that later, but of course, because I have it on the rotating base, I can't plug it in. It does plug in by USB. It does plug in by USB. You do want to kind of be cautious with it. Make sure that your plug is narrow top to bottom when it goes in there, because it is a tight spot. But all these pieces are clear, and there are pieces with reliefs of Ace, Zoro, Luffy. There's one over on this side of him biting his arm. There's just different scenes on here, and it is super freaking fantastic. You get this piece right here that gives an underglow to the figure. The only thing that I ended up noticing when I ended up lighting this up, and you'll kind of see it when it rotates around, I'm not sure if they meant for this effect, but they could have like primed it a little bit better to get into all the little cracks and everything, and then paint it over, because you do get some light bleed through on some of the, like on the bricks here, because you keep in mind this is all clear resin, so you're going to have some bleed through. If they weren't intending that, I probably would have hit it with a good like a black primer and then gone over it, but I don't know if that would have really worked, because there are little spots on here that there's little holes that you end up supposed to get like cracks, but you get it in here as well. Personally, myself, I don't have an issue with it. It's just a thought on there. The paint application seems to be fantastic. You get like these copper and almost brassy gold tones with washes over them. The stonework looks great. The water effects look great. I just can't stop gushing about this. Taking a look at Luffy here, and man, I'm super impressed. Like if I zoom in really far, you can see the texture that's on the pants, on the cloth, the skin, everything else. It is all fantastic. Now, one thing that I have noticed with DT Studios is they have a tendency of doing this pearlescent red on these things like this for effects, and I really like it. It doesn't look overblown, but it gives a nice sheen and detail to it. I mean, if you look on the bottom of his flip-flops here, there's detail, and it's got wash, and you can see the rope around the edges. Everything. Look at all the shading. The shading is freaking phenomenal on this. You have the scar across his chest. This part is stiff, but it lines up with the hat. And of course, he has his iconic hat. And what I'm doing right now is I'm literally just showing you all the pieces, and then we'll put it all together. Next up, you've got this piece, and it's going to attach to the sash around his waist. Nice weathering on the end here. Nice faded in. You've got nice shadowing and everything. Ugh. You've got his other arm here. You've got that same reddish on here. You have this tentacle thing that he's grabbing hold of. You have this tentacle thing that he's grabbing hold of. The details veining on here. It's just, I don't know what to say. I'm still, even though this is my second time around, I'm still super pleased. His face, one of the favorite things that I have, and one of the reasons that I picked the DT Studios piece is the face. Like, I love the forehead texture for the expression, the eyes, it's not overdone. The paint application, even on the hair, it's a dark brown, and you can kind of see that they airbrushed it out lighter on the tips. Like, just fantastic. Now, this is one of the bigger pieces, and this is the cape. Now, it washes up over his back, and you get two giant pins along with wedges that end up going into his shoulders to cover that up. Since I have already tested this fit, the fit is nice and tight. It seems very stable. I wouldn't want to pick it up and carry it around with this hanging on his back, because it ends up seeing like this. And it is weighty. This probably weighs a couple pounds by itself. And again, it is in resin. You do have these little nodules that effects get attached to. The only thing I ended up finding, and I ended up wiping it off, is there seemed to be almost like some rubber cement type stuff, and I'm going to assume it was from when they placed these on here. Maybe they just, you know, bumped it with a brush. It was just kind of a tacky feeling, but I just use a tissue and wipe that right up. Yes, there's texture all over this, like fabric. Next up, you get these two chunky water effects, and this part's going to attach to the base, and this part's going to attach to the back of the cape. And you can see there's big chunky magnets in here. Now, I don't think that these are like N52 magnets, because they don't seem to have that kind of pull power, but they are nice. They do work for what they're intended as to holding these in place. Like I said, you do get two of these. This is the bigger one. You could knock someone out with this one. The dry brushing of the water effects, the frothy look on the top of here, very well done. Next up, you have this piece. Now, I'm pretty sure that this piece is based off of a scene from the show. I just haven't gotten that far in the show. But you have this piece. You got this tentacle thing that's coming up and through his head. Cute little face. The only thing when I unboxed it was there seemed to be like a piece of blue tack or something stuck to the side of his head. Easy to remove. Again, everything has these nice, really big pins to hold them in place if they don't have magnets. Next up, you have two of these tentacle smoke effect parts. These have magnets on both of them. They end up attaching. When I did the test fit, the fit was a little loose on there, so I would end up watching that as far as how they end up going onto the base. You have this piece, this gladiator helmet thing, and I think he ends up wearing this in part of the show. Very cool effects on here. The paint application is actually well done. there's actually no gold. I can actually tell looking at this that this was done almost in a non-metallic metal. It is a yellow. It does look like yellows, maybe clear yellows over a silver, and then you've got some oranges to blend it in. Again, you got tentacle thing that's going to be coming through the helmet, and then you get 3 smoke effect parts that are going to attach to the back of the cape. Now, I have tried to put this on here and not blow out the color on here, but we'll see if we ended up managing to get that done. So we have the base on the turntable here. First piece that you're going to want to put on is Luffy himself. So there is a spot back here for his foot. You just want to line up the peg. His other foot's going to go on this brick right here. And once he's all slid in, he is nice and solid. Turning him around, the next piece you're going to want to put on is for the sash. Get it and push it right into the slot. Next piece you're going to want to do is going to be his right arm. That's just going to slide in like so. The next piece you're going to want to do is going to be the cape. And there's 2 big notches here with peg holes. And you're just going to want to carefully line them up as to not scratch anything. They line up perfectly. Just kind of push them down and there they go. Now, I wouldn't yank on this or anything, but it sits in there just fine. The next piece that you're going to want to put on is going to be his head. You're not going to be able to put the cape on while his head is on there. Turning this guy around to the back. If you're looking at it from the back, the smaller water effect part is going to go on his right side, and the bigger water effect is going to slide into this just like that, and then magnetize to the back of the cape. So here we have that part. Now, for these smoke effects, they are different areas that you want to put them onto. One is going to go right there. One of the smoke effect parts is going to go right there, and you may have to wiggle just a little bit to get them seated on there all the way, because there is paint both on the inside of this part and on the outside of that. So it does make the fit a little bit tight. And then the last smoke effect is going to go right up here, just like that. So next up we have the little head, and that is going to pin in just like that. That's going to pin in, and it's going to fit a little bit funky. The next piece is going to be this piece, and it's going to go in like this. You kind of want to lift that up and then slide that in for it to fit nice and secure. They kind of sandwich together. Last of the smoke effect parts is going to go right here in the front. Just kind of jiggle it a little bit to get it in there. And then the last piece ends up going just like that. I forgot to end up showing you this card when I was doing all the parts run through and everything. It comes with, it's about a credit card size, a piece of, I don't think it's stainless steel because magnets stick to it, no problem. But this is basically the certificate of authenticity. Monkey D. Luffy. Number 32 out of 176 worldwide. And there you go, boys and girls. This is the 1/6 scale DT Studios Luffy D Monkey resin statue. I have to say, if I were to, and I'm not one that usually gives ratings, if I were to have to give this a rating, I would have to give it a solid 9 out of 10. There are a few little quips about it, and it's only with the paint application. I think the magnets could have been a little bit tighter on these parts, but as far as everything else, like, you're not going to be moving this around. You should just build this up, put it in a display case, and leave it like that. This shot right here is why I ended up picking this up. It's that whole like glare, it's that whole menacing glare part. Like, I really think they captured that really well in the pose, in the eyes, everything else. I love the flow. I love everything about this. And this is what I was talking about with the plugs. I had to shave the top of this one down, and it actually took me a little bit to find the port where the switch and everything is. It's actually on the very back side of him, basically where these magnetize in. If you look directly down toward the base, it's on the underside of these waves. So it's actually almost invisible, but that port with the way that it's angled and everything is super tight. So you want a narrow plug to be able to go into there. But once you get it in, there you go. Now, I've tried to turn down the studio lights so that it's not really overblown. Of course, I can't turn on the carousel so that you can end up seeing it lit up in full rotation, but this will give you an idea of what to expect. And see, when I saw pictures and stuff of this, because it's kind of blown out, you can't tell. Like, it looks like there's a glowing like treasure coming out of here, but all of these on the sides right here are reliefs. Like, here's Zoro, here's Luffy biting his arm. I think this one is Ace fighting over here, and I think Sabo, And there's another one over here. You get these nice flame effect parts over here, and you can kind of see right here, if I end up zooming in, what I'm talking about the glow through of the paint. I think unless they were to paint it all by hand on that they couldn't have gotten away with that. But there are little details like this little plate that's on here. This little plate that's on here, it's like gold plated with a brass tone to it. It's just the little details are fantastic. And I think like I said, it's just the pose, the presence. You get this underglow on his leg from this. There, it's clear up here, so it gives you a nice shine underneath. You do get some glow effect through the blue resin, not that much over there. And through the base of the clear blue resin, you get some details on there as well. Like I said, I would have to give this a solid 9 out of 10. All right, boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed that overview and how to put this guy together. I hope you had as much excitement and pleasure in it that I did. I can't wait to get more from this line. I really like the aesthetics from DT Studios of everything. I have, like I said, I have about 5 more pieces coming, all from Senpai Toy. As usual, there will be links to both the storefront and also the Facebook page down below, as well as a link to be able to pick this up. I am not affiliated. I paid for these out of my own hard-earned money. So with that, I'm going to close out this video, trying to figure out where to put him down here. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay tuned. More big stuff coming. As usual, peace.